Testing, testing. Welcome, survivors. This is Eerie Night of the Pseudo Posse, and we've received a lot of comments asking about base building and POIs. In particular, how to tweak a POI from the beginning of the game up until the late game. Pretty much all my builds are made from scratch, but I thought it would be fun to take a rundown POI, fix it up, and turn it into an extremely effective horde killing machine. In this video, we'll be choosing a single POI to get it ready for the first horde on day 7, followed by the modifications needed for a mid-game horde around day 35, and finally the late-game horde base around day 70. I'll walk you through all the modifications and their priorities for getting your base up and running as we tweak the base for all 3 hordes. So, first things first, which POI will we pick? There are many to choose from. I perused through quite a few POIs before settling on one of Taco's favorites, the Remnant Waste 17, also known as the Nav Pest Control. Aside from being one of Taco's favorites, what makes the base an attractive option? Yes, it does have more holes than a slice of Swiss cheese, but it also has great potential. Because it is a remnant, it doesn't have much of a zombie threat, with only a few zombies holding residence within its crumbling walls. After taking those out, we can head on our little tour. What's really great about this base is that it inherently has a nice zombie path laid out for you. If you head up the stairs on the side, it will take you along a slightly incomplete path. Case in point, the large gap between the ducts. And oh, excuse me, I seem to have left a survivor or two. Pause the tour for a moment. Pew and stabby. Okay, where was I? Yes, slightly incomplete path, the duct. Okay, we're back on track. So over this lovely desk here, we have ourselves a ramp that leads up to what looks like a pillar 0.05 meter block pathway toward the eastern corner. And lo and behold, another pillar pathway with a gap in the middle. I really think the devs made this one for me. Thank you, fun pimps. The cheese you partially set up will not go to waste. Beyond that, there is another corner of the building separated by 2 broken I-beams, which leads to a ladder that goes up to the roof. Okay, so we could do a lot of things with this path they've laid out for us so conveniently, and we could, in theory, take it all the way up to the roof. But to save on materials, I think we'll make our fighting position past the second pillar pathway. You know, the one with the gap in the middle. That way, we already have our walls and a partial roof above us that we can fix up and not have to make anything on the roof itself. So what do we need to do for the first day 7 horde? Not too much, actually. Our front will want to clear a bit of rubble. It only has 200 hit points, so that is more than manageable for a stone axe. We'll save any major block removals for later on when we have better tools. Destroying a 1000 plus hit point block early game is a waste of time. These here have 500 hit points, which is about as high as I'll go with the stone axe. But for expediency's sake, I'll remove these with the super dev digger. In their place, I'm going to place some stairs. It's always nice to give zombies an easy entrance so they won't bash on the walls or floor. And just like that, they now have an easy route to the existing stone stairs. A less important thing you could do if you have time before the first horde is to make some of the interior rubble a bit easier for zombies to path across. Long term, we'll want to remove it, but for the first horde it isn't necessary. And in fact, over the first few early hordes, zombies can actually help us clear out some of the rubble when they randomly beat on blocks after they drop. That definitely looks a bit cleaner, but again, you don't need to do that for the first horde. Alright, so now that we've gone up the stairs, we are met with some wood planks. One important rule I have, never trust wood. Just don't. So we're going to remove that and replace it with ramp blocks rotated sideways. And oh look, we have ourselves a customer. Joyous. Let's pop over here, and doesn't look like he appreciates the ramp. Well, we know what to do with ramp-hating zombies. Technically, he didn't like the destroyed type block, specifically this one over here, as he didn't see it as a path. But no matter, he beat off too close to my ramps, so that's Cass's belly for me. Anyway, we need to replace those blocks, but fortunately, they only have 500 hit points. Ah, the duct. I've got plans for you, my sweet duct. First, we're going to cover this duct with full cubes. And the same thing with the, oh, oof. Okay, change of plans, but not really. Let's pretend the duct is still there and place the same cubes. And next we're going to plop down the pillar 0.5 meter plate in between the cubes on both sides of the duct. Again, pretending. We're going to rotate this guy so he is at the bottom, and then blam. Once we got them all the way across, next is the window arch top trim. and we're going to orient these such that they lie flat atop the pillar plates, forming an enclosed gap in between. The idea of this is to not drop zombies. Shocker, I know. Rather, it will sufficiently slow them down for our incredibly slow ranged attacks. Whether you're using the bow, pipe rifle, pipe pistol, whatever shitty primitive weapon, they all have terrible reload and low rate of fire. So slowing down zombies for easy headshots is key. And this path will be perfectly within view of our fighting position. Me running here is essentially how the zombies will react. The window trim isn't a pathable block, but the pillar plates are. So they'll try to run across the pillar plates but fall in between the window trim, and so they'll jump into each gap as they cross. Alright, we're approaching the end. Next up is a ramp, and well, this duct has to go. It is too weak and zombies will break this no problem, potentially breaking our path. So after removing it, I'll simply copy the shape of the existing ramp and place it. Same for the next one. And for those wanting to know the exact shape name, that would be the plate wedge 60 incline and the plate wedge 60 tip. Oh look, another customer. Hopefully this one is more well behaved. And look, just about to cross the pillar plate window trim walkway. Let's get a little preview. See, it just works. It should buy us enough time during the horde to shoot at sitting targets. I actually demonstrated this path in our 80+ beginner tips video, so if you want more information on this path or others, along with a host of other building tricks, I highly recommend checking that out. Link in the video description. Anyway, for the first pillar path, we don't want to do anything. It has 1000 hit points, which is more than enough for the first horde. As for our next pillar path with the gap, I am actually going to close the gap. Shocking, I know. Mainly because the gap is too wide and not in the right spot. We're going to copy shape, and damn, I missed the middle when I called out the name earlier. Well, at least I got the thickness right. Anyway, let's fill those in. Now I know I said I didn't want to remove any blocks with 1000 hit points, but these are the exceptions. They really are in the way, unfortunately. But since the rest of the modifications don't take too long, you can devote a bit of time knocking these out. Once our pillars are 2 blocks away from our position, we are going to switch to the pillar 0.05 meter half side centered and place the first such that there is no gap with the other pillars. And for the second placement, we'll rotate it to create the largest gap. To block off the zombies at our fighting position, we'll place some scaffold ladders, and because I am paranoid, I'll extend that out on either side so we have a 3 wide ladder. And that is that. Alright, before we attempt the horde, I went through and colored all of our additions in red so you can easily see how much we changed, which really isn't that much. It doesn't take a lot of work to get this ready for the horde. Oh, one tiny flaw. Didn't make a way for myself to get into the fighting platform. As a temporary measure, I'll place some window plate circle empty shapes, which are not zombie pathable, but will allow us to path over, you know, in theory. Okay, enough of that. Time to bring in some taco for the first horde.
Move.
Yep.
I'm using knife.
Yep.
Using my stuff.
Hey, I introduced you to agility, okay? Before me, all you were doing was like strength and the clubs, okay?
Oh!
That's a typical Taco Bear. Ooh, I'm gonna stand over here.
No, you stand close to me.
No.
Nice that you can get on zombies.
I just dropped. Oh, the knockback is just amazing.
Oh, this path down here works pretty well for the doggos. Hey, everybody. You know, here's a tip for you. You know, if you're having trouble with the zombie dogs, this path right there in front of me works really well. Well, that worked incredibly well. This POI definitely has a lot of cheesy potential, but to get it ready for the day 35 horde, we've got ourselves a bit of work to do. First thing we want to clear out is the rubble around the perimeter of the building. This doesn't need to be prioritized for the day 14 horde or even the one after that. Just whenever you have some time, remove the rubble, take pride in your base, and clean it up, lazy. This next one isn't immediately a priority for the next couple hordes either, but we'll want to long-term plug up a lot of the Swiss cheese holes. Not only does it make our structural stability a bit vulnerable, but zombies when falling or running along the path tend to end up in a hole and start beating on the wall. Initially that isn't a problem as the zombies are weak and there aren't many of them, but over time, zombies can and will collapse a POI as Taco and I have seen in the past. So when undertaking this project, prioritize the bottom first to build up stability from the ground up. By the time you reach day 35, you could have all the important holes filled in, but it isn't necessary to get all the ones at the top, mainly the ones at the bottom and the holes around the pathway. It should also be noted for hole filling, you can use any shape you want, but I like the idea of keeping the base still Swiss cheesy and also making it look like it was roughly patched. Give it a rugged apocalypse look. So I'm going with the pull four-way shape, which will still give us lots of holes, and fortunately the block stops cop spit like the scaffold, so that should give us extra safety. Any destroyed block needs to be removed as it has low hit points and takes up block space for making a clean flush covering of the pull four-ways, so everywhere they are, remove them. On this side of the building, I'm going to leave some openings inside. If I cover up the walls on all sides except our entrance by the stairs, zombies spawning in the back might try to beat through the walls, so giving them openings should reduce the damage we take. To make the entrances look a bit more clean, I'll place some poles to give the pull four-way walls a clean straight edge, and in the corners will go the pull two-way corner shape. Same thing for the other side entrance. At our fighting position, we'll want to cover that up with full cubes as a main priority for the next horde, as we want to avoid any cop spit flying at us. Yes, the pull four-way will stop the cop spit, but we don't want them to spit at all, just to avoid any repair damage. Completely enclose yourself inside, which does unfortunately mean our third scaffold we added for the first horde is in the way, so adios. Again, as we are filling out these holes, the higher we go, the less important it is for the next few hordes. Long term, we'll want to fill everything in, but if you are short on time and resources, don't fret about covering it up right away. That especially goes for the walls furthest away from you. These can wait to cover up until later hordes, though it is certainly achievable by day 35. This next modification becomes more important once cops start to spawn. If you have any cops exploding down by the weak rubble floor, you'll start to get some massive pits and craters in your ground floor, which can cause lots of damage and potentially break your pathing from the ground back to your stairs. So we'll need to cover it up. Not the whole floor at this juncture, though again it is certainly doable for day 35, but not a priority. All we're going to do is cover the floor near the front entrance to make the path toward the stairs secure. And where we don't fill in floor, I'll put in some stairs filled to make the transition from rubble to concrete floor smooth to avoid zombies getting stuck and bashing on the blocks. In the corners, I'll plop down stairs filled inside corner and the stairs filled diagonal too to make a seamless staircase without any harsh edges. It's also a good idea to fill in the floor immediately under the top path, as if you knock a cop down and it explodes, that could wreak havoc on your base. So remove any excess rubble and replace it with full cubes. Our next order of business is to make a permanent means of accessing our base, which will be a ladder 2 blocks above the ground from within the central elevator shaft. At the top, remove these blocks as they'll be in the way. The important objective up here is to make a roof directly over the fighting position. Once vultures start spawning, usually by the day 14 horde, you'll want a roof. So this is a big priority following the first horde. Simply remove all the destroyed blocks as is customary at this point and replace them with full cubes. In between our new roof and elevator, I'm going to place scaffolds. These shapes are not pathable. I don't want zombies to potentially see a path from our ladder to our fighting position. And again, though the ladder is 2 blocks above the ground, I am always paranoid, and whenever I see a potential pathing flaw, I err on the side of caution. Plus, these will allow us to shoot through the scaffolds at vultures, so win-win. As soon as you get concrete, which is easily achievable before the day 35 horde, it is vital to upgrade all your cobblestone additions to concrete. So let's go through our initial day 7 modifications and get that done. Also, as we go, we'll make a few extra modifications that weren't completely necessary for the first horde, but will make the path hold up better for later hordes. Basically removing more destroyed blocks and replacing them with stronger shapes. This next modification is me being paranoid again about the ladder, but I fear they'll be close enough to the ladder within the elevator from this red pathway that they'll attempt to jump toward the slight lip and try to break through the wall and climb up the ladder. So I'm going to remove the lip. Doing this in game will be more time consuming as these blocks have more hit points. So definitely wait to do this till you have better tools. That being said, it might be perfectly safe, but also I've seen zombies do crazy things, and somehow, some way, a zombie could find itself over there. If you are worried about it, you might consider putting a ladder elsewhere or finding another means of ingress into your base. But alas, I am committed, and all we are doing is replacing the blocks with full cubes. And because of my cursed OCD symmetry, it won't let me leave the other side different, so I have to make the same change on the other side, despite not functionally needing to do so. Sometimes I hate myself, but if you don't all suffer from this affliction, this change is definitely not a priority. But for me, it sadly is.
However, an important modification to make is to plug up the hole in the back of the elevator. It is more than likely some zombies will find themselves jumping through and onto the ladder. Simply copy shape and fill in the 4 blocks.
Okay, once we've finished upgrading cobblestone and replacing some more destroyed blocks, we find ourselves up top. Eventually, cops will be a major issue, and this fighting platform is exposed. Taco, especially when fighting from the elevator in the day 7 horde, would be extremely exposed. So I want to give her that ability while also keeping the capability of throwing Molotovs and pipe bombs down below. So I'm going to place some scaffold down, which will allow consumables to be thrown through while also blocking cop spit. Problem: scaffolds are not pathable, so if Taco is on the elevator, that could break zombie pathing. That is why we are going to mix in some pull 4-way shapes. These also stop cop spit, but unlike scaffolds, are pathable. Problem: they create a large gap that players can potentially fall through, so we want to be safe with them. I want to make sure the pull 4-ways extend from the platform to the elevator, so if Taco is on it, the zombies will still follow the main path and not beat on the elevator shaft. Plus, it will also give us access to shooting at the below pillar plate window arch trim path, which worked really well last horde. I'll extend the scaffold wall to protect from cop spit all around, including along the elevator shaft, so Taco can be safe from cop spit. And of course, we'll want to block off the roof to prevent vultures from swooping down inside. Make sure to block the end to prevent spit from that angle as well. You can extend the platform around the entire elevator shaft, but that isn't necessary. Though if doing multiplayer, it could be nice to create more shooting positions, so we'll make that change for the day 70 horde. Lastly, we'll block off the side of our platform with the pull 4-way. This will prevent any vultures or spit from finding their way inside. Again, the roof is not completely blocked off yet, so we need to prevent those little buggers from pecking our heads. I decided to make some more adjustments after thinking about it some more. To give Taco an easier time with Molotovs, I am adding some hatches and shutters to allow her to open them and throw Molotovs more easily, and hopefully not set herself or me on fire in the process. Also, to create a better angle for the path underneath to shoot at, I'm going to remove some additional blocks and extend the scaffold to give a better field of view. On the roof, we're going to place wood spikes. Definitely can use iron if you have the resources, but this will easily take care of vultures throughout the horde as they dive bomb into them, taking themselves out. And because the gap between the scaffolds and pull 4-way has me a bit concerned, I'm going to line it with spikes as well. Now, there's one part of the POI I have completely ignored. We have made use of the concrete stairs for the zombie path, but above those are a bunch of broken stairs that will spiral up each floor up to the roof. And since I have received several comments asking me to include a storage crafting home area within a horde base, I think this is the perfect time to do that. This part is completely optional, but this POI is large enough for us to safely put in our crafting stations and storage units while keeping them safe. So if you don't prefer to fight and craft in the same place, fair enough, skip this part. But if you want to live, sleep, eat, craft, and fight all at one location, then by all means. We'll leverage our ladder to reach our home part of the base. But to make sure zombies don't run that way, we'll use the scaffold ladders to make ourselves a way to reach the vulnerable area. Again, these shapes are not zombie pathable, so they should completely ignore it. Let's head on over ourselves and begin the adjustments. First, we are going to simply plug in all of the holes with cubes to make some walls. I don't want to craft while all the neighbors are watching, and they will watch. Creeps. And because we are fancy folks, I'll leave in a small window to let in some of the light, which does partially negate the creepy neighbor issue, but maybe deep down, we like it. And to give us more floor space and block any zombies from below, fill in the floor with some half cubes. Continue filling in the holes until we are nice and closed in. Underneath the stairs where we filled in the half block floor, we can tuck some storage in to save on some space. We will use the window store corner full for all of the corners. And for the missing holes, we'll need the window store one-sided full. Slot in a double door and start putting in all of your crafting stations. For even more space, we can extend a ladder upwards towards the roof and then fill in said missing roof. On top of the roof, we can put in some dew collectors to generate some precious water. Never trust wood, bang bang. Optionally, we can also expand to create a bit more living space using full cubes to create floor walls and a ceiling. And inside, we can place a chem station and another forge. For the facade of our new addition, we'll add some ramp blocks in front of the forge, add some more cubes on the outside, and a railing and windows to overlook our base. That is pretty much the bare minimum of what you can do. But you could certainly continue to build higher than the roof or devote more of the roof directly over the base part of the POI for your home. For those that skipped the home part, welcome back. Let's all take a brief moment to sync back up. Okay, good. Well, let's proceed and test our mid-game horde base. Get over here, Taco. Still wearing the same primitive clothes.
No, I already changed.
Did you?
Yep.
You sure?
Yep.
Are you really sure? It doesn't
I'm
seem so.
very sure.
No, it doesn't look like you. You really look like you're still wearing the primitive clothing.
Only this one, I think. Ooh, I'm naked.
Cover your eyes, everybody.
Okay,
There you go.
now
That's looking better. There you go.
What is this? Okay. Okay.
Did you didn't ever accept my invite?
Oh, we don't have to be friends.
Do.
No,
do.
we don't.
We totally do.
No, I totally don't.
Accept my invite.
I can't hit you. Pushka. Oh. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah?
Cop tried to hit me.
How dare he? Try out the sledge.
Whoa. Whoa. Oh.
How you liking it?
Me like it.
You like it?
Yes. But it's still a bit slow.
Well, yeah, it's definitely not as fast as the knife, as you were accustomed to the last time we played. So you're gonna see a bit of a difference there.
Whoa, lighting mod. I don't know if I want to use this perk in real play.
Oh, really? Why? Is it the shotgun?
Yeah, a bit slow still.
What about the pump shotgun?
Slow. I like machine gun.
No, but it's so satisfying, like per blast, you know, it's like boom, boom. No?
That's true. That's true, actually.
And it's got penetration ability, so you're hitting more than one zombie at once.
Oh, really? No
Yeah.
wonder why. Move.
Ooh, back up.
Wow, so many cops. Good, you have good coverage.
Yeah, that's the whole idea of at this point in the horde, or in the game stage, that you need a lot of protection against cops.
Come here. Hey guys. Oh, cop! Cop! Ooh! I'm on fire!
Cops don't do that. That sounds like Taco.
Of course I'm gonna hit myself. Why you don't have any coverage for cop in this little corner?
I wasn't expecting
I'm
you
on
to fire out of that
fire
corner.
again. Wow, they run so fast.
Ew.
Wow, this is so well executed. How realistic it is to build this in real playthrough.
White?
Huh? Quite likely? Maybe our next playthrough we just do this.
Maybe. I mean, it's actually, it looks intimidating, but it really actually isn't all that intimidating. Especially since you don't need
as many of the pull four-ways on the sides as I've gotten.
Of course, those totally not necessary.
No, it's not. But you want to do it eventually. But it isn't, by day 35, you don't need to have all of them here. And even if you did have them all, it's still doable because the actual design inside the base is not that much. And you can slowly expand the size of this flighting platform that we're on as well over time.
Oh, whoa! You're awesome. Sucker. Whoa, what triggered it?
Probably the Molotov.
Oh. Then that's not me.
As you're the only one using Molotovs, I think that's totally you.
No, that's a Molotov, not me, not Taco Bear, right?
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yeah. Wow, morning already?
Morning already. Doesn't the Horde fly by?
Yeah.
All right, so how do you feel about the day 35 Horde, Taco?
Oh, easy.
So you like the pump shotgun at the very least?
Yep.
Yeah, once you get to the pump shotgun, it starts getting really nice. The double one is a bit more tolerable than the first primitive pipe one. But once you get to the pump one, it's just like, ooh, it feels good. And then the auto shotgun, which we'll try out next, feels like insanely good. Excellent. This POI is just absolutely perfect, but we can still make some more improvements for the late game Horde. Let's start at the bottom with the floor. At whatever state you have it by the mid game, you want to start completely filling in the bottom floor as you continue forward. Replace all the rubble with concrete, especially once you start getting demos. Well, ideally before you do. You really want that floor. Filling in the rest is easy. Just put some more cubes all around, and wherever you want to adjust the elevation, you can use some stairs. Not really much else to this aside from removing the occasional destroyed block, as we have done dozens of times by now. Our next goal is to expand the fighting platform around the elevator shaft, which will require removing the scaffold ladders at the far end and placing the pull four-way all around. If you extend the scaffold all the way to the end, you cannot place another scaffold in the corner on the other face without rotating and placing the scaffold on the outside, leaving the climbable surface exposed to the zombies. Knock it out and put ramps in the corners. Ramps because it is spit safe, and it also provides a little bit of extra room in the interior. From there, fill in all the scaffolds, and you can extend the pull four-way wall on the other side. To make maneuvering a bit easier, feel free to knock out some walls of the elevator shaft to make the back and forth movement less restrictive. We can remove the spikes covering the gap between the pull four-way and scaffold now that we will completely cover the roof so no birds can swoop inside. If you've already filled it in by the mid-game point, then nothing to do here. But since it isn't the largest priority to get done early, you can save it for later hordes. Same thing with the pull four-way walls on the exterior of the building. If you haven't finished filling in all of the holes by the mid-game, you can continue on that project as you progress towards the later game hordes. One issue you can fix by the mid-game, or possibly even earlier, is the fact that directly below the fighting position where zombies drop is a section of floor. You could knock that out around the mid-game time, but I would highly recommend getting it out of there by the late game. Reason being, it will lower the fall distance, making zombies rage. Now, the overall distance from the pillar to the ground is around 11 or 12 blocks, which will still even cause some zombies to rage. You could counter that in two ways. First is to make the floor below deeper, which will require extra work but is a straightforward approach. At least 15 blocks drop distance should be sufficient. The other approach is electric fence posts. If you drop them down into that, the damage from the post should be sufficient to reset their rage. You could include this feature as well in the mid-game Horde base if you've unlocked electricity, but I don't want to assume all players beeline for that stuff, so I didn't want to include that earlier. And placing the fence posts on the other end should be pretty safe, as nothing should be exploding or spitting or bashing near these guys, in theory. And because the fence posts are near us on the other end, it would be a good idea to add some scaffolds to protect against any errant cop spit. And since we are using electricity anyway, it doesn't hurt to add some extra lighting. Another addition that would be quite nice to have is a backup for the pillar plate window trim path. Since zombies have to jump across it, naturally it takes an extra beating from zombies. So if the worst were to happen and the path was destroyed, that would break our entire design. So I thought it would be great to add some power doors as a backup path. We can put a switch behind us to press in case of emergency. Simply wiring from the generator all the way down to our switch. From there, wiring all the doors will give us a nice backup plan in case tragedy strikes. One of the other vital things we can do is to upgrade the most vulnerable important sections of the build to steel.
You certainly don't need to go haywire. Simply the aforementioned pillar plate window trim path, the fighting position up above, and the pillar path leading to the fighting position. Feel free to upgrade more as needed, but that is the bare minimum. Okay, so one of my recordings failed, but I made a couple last minute adjustments. I moved the fence post back 1 block and put the scaffolds in front again. Since originally I had to rotate the scaffolds the opposite direction, the climbable surface was exposed for falling zombies. And lastly, I replaced the doors with hatches. I found in my walking around that doors made a thicker contour perpendicular to the wall that might catch zombies as they fall. Hatches are narrower, so I feel more comfortable with them. Alright, that about does it. You will notice there was a lot less changes from the mid-game to the late-game base, and that is because the design works so well. It doesn't need a lot of extra. It all boils down to getting the high-priority features in place first, and the other projects can take a bit longer to complete, like the walls and the roof. But ultimately, you want something like this. Okay, let me track down Taco one last time and do the last horde.
Whoa, day 70.
Yes, day 70, Taco.
What's the difference? I don't see any
Actually,
difference.
there actually isn't that much difference between the 35 and 70 horde. It's mainly finishing the roof and all the walls. And then I also extended the platform around the elevator shaft, but that's about it.
Yeah, I don't
Because like there really isn't that many changes you need to make this like a really good horde base. It's just mainly, the main thing is just building up all the sides and the top over time. So like functionally, you're kind of almost there at the mid game.
Do you really think this pull-forward on the side is necessary?
It helps with structural integrity, and then prevent zombies from like kind of squeezing in between the walls and starting to like beat on them to destroy them. Because over time they will do that. I mean, just look at the previous playthroughs we've done in the POIs that were wrecked. Come up the ladder.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go. So come on in. You know where to go. Go get your stuff.
Who wants primitive?
Right? Yuck. Why are you still wearing the sandals?
Because I haven't got a chance to wear that. Oh, it looks so good.
Yeah.
Oh my world.
It's even more satisfying when it's closer.
Whoa, my whoa.
So now what do you think about shotguns?
Love it.
You definitely look good with them. You look really good. Me like.
The sound.
I know, it's very satisfying. I love shotguns is one of my favorites. Like I always prefer to go for more ammo efficient kind of things. Yeah, it's slower rate, but you can get a lot of burst damage.
What do you think? You totally over-engineered this.
Not over-engineered.
Oh.
I mean, this is easily achievable like way before day 70.
Gosh, auto shotgun. You love the sound?
I do actually love the sound, yeah.
Compare with my sound, which one is your favorite?
Shotgun.
God, really?
Because you can get louder.
What's that even mean?
I think
And why am
everybody
you
knows
laughing?
what it means.
Why am I even laughing?
Because you know what it means.
I really don't know.
Sure you don't.
I don't.
Okay, everybody in the comments, well, what do you think? What do you think I mean?
Eh?
Also, you know, be wary that Taco does read the comments, so take that as you will, everybody.
I don't read them.
That's a lie, everybody. That's a lie.
I don't read it.
That's a lie.
Oh, that quick.
That quick, Taco. That quick. I like how they're all coming to me on fire.
Oh yeah.
So how would you rate your experience, Taco? And all the bases from day 7 to day 70.
Oh, that's excellent.
Excellent. You liked it? You thought it went well? Felt safe?
So OP. So over-engineered.
Not over, or maybe a bit over-engineered. You know, I am me after all, but I think the actual core design is very simplistic. The loop is really easy, very simple.
I see.
Yes, but I do never trust those zombies, and yeah, I may have overbuilt some of the walls and roofs and things, but you know, you can't be too careful. And over the case of 70
you
days,
call this is being careful.
you know, over the course of 70 days, you know, this is actually isn't that much.
Okay, let's do this. Okay, let's repeat this in a playthrough so you prove it.
All right.
To be honest, it's just repeating pattern, right? Pull forward and then
Yeah, it's super easy. Like it
It's super
seems
easy, yeah, I
intimidating, but it
agree.
really is a lot faster than you think it is.
you basically just need all the materials from Taco and then make Taco
Exactly.
destroy all the blocks.
First hire a taco. Second step is you let her do all the digging and the work. Third step is you just build while she toils away in the mines. All right.
Oh, this sound is so satisfying.
It is, isn't it? Oh, no, you unfriended me. I just noticed that. Ah!
They're
Murder!
dead.
Well, that was honestly a blast. I hope the video wasn't too long for you guys, but I really wanted to cover all the changes made to the POI in as much depth without being too overbearing. Let us know if you like the in-depth type of build guide or if you prefer something faster. While you're at it, feel free to share your thoughts on future videos. Could be a fresh new build, a specific POI request, or a game mechanic you want me to do a deep dive. Anyway, I've kept you here long enough. Thank you all for watching. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, yada yada yada. It supports us and grows the community. So win-win. Also, major shout out to our Patreon members. Thank you all so much for your generosity and support. On that note, this is Eerie Knight, exhausted, signing off. See you all in the next one.